It's the goons! Take the opportunity to look. Oh, there he is! He's up there! Take the look around at just what I heard. Scanning the room, seems to be a rather small gathering. On one table, four important-looking saurians. For another four guards standing and milling about the dining area, all openly armed. Counting the pair, avoiding everyone else in conference room 2, and the mysterious boss that puts 5 bigwigs and 6 guards on the premises. Should have gone out that window in the hallway. Wonder if there's still time. I'm only 2 stories up, I'd probably survive. Landing on the concrete might break some bones, but that's better than a bunch of mobsters willing to steal their money. If I get away, I have a bag of millions of dollars. I can afford the hospital trip. Probably. Man, $1 million won't even pay for our fucking cast these days. What is wrong with you? Jesus. I will say, I'm not a big fan of this so far. This is not my preferred kind of narrative to read, okay? Before I could truly weigh my options, I gotta have the kitchen door's finally open. Deep at the back of my mind, a primal flight instinct suddenly springs to alarm, as out of the kitchen steps the biggest saurian I'd ever seen. These aren't your usual minions, these are rank A mooks! The kind you see the dark alleyway smoking, let alone heard about, but I have heard of them. Damn! Dude, where the fuck were these designs in Snoot game? I mean, they're not really relevant for a high school dating game, but look at this motherfucker. It's Alphonse! A gigantic Allosaurus gangster, known for a long and sordid career of criminality. A rise to infamy assisted by being a genetic throwback to an age when dinosaurs ruled the earth. How the fuck does that help you in crime? It just makes you a bigger target. The Grim Reaper of the West Coast, as some tabloids call him. Like, yes, it makes him intimidating, but that's not how you run a business. The closer I got to Dinophoria, the more prevalent and audacious the rumors became. They all had one common theme. If you crossed them, you're dead. Meanwhile, Big Husband. Ugh. No taste. No taste. He walks around in a tan suit. You'd still date him. Ugh. Looking at his sheer size, it was easy to understand how the police hadn't stopped him yet. Looks like he could tear out whatever jail they put him in. How the fuck didn't he just die from all the bullets they pump into him? Like, the reason the cops don't bother him is because he pays them off. That's how mobsters work. They don't work by actually physically threatening the cops like that. Because that never works. Do you not understand how guns work? Not just tear through half the city worth of cops by himself. Dude! Do you not know what an anti-material rifle does to a person? I don't care how big he is. Probably costs less than the fucking tailor, indeed. Anyway, like, I get what you're trying to say. He's big, he's intimidating, but the Kingpin in fucking Spider-Man isn't big. He's big so that he can fight Spider-Man. But from a mechanical point of view, his power is that he can run a fucking mob, right? Which is unrelated to the fact that he's big. That's a bonus. That's a plus. That's a little touch on top. The massive dinosaur came out carrying a large covered dish, which he then placed on the table. This thing has a name. Oh, let me see what it's called again. It's called a clocher. I think it's called a clocher. It's French.
Cloche.
A cloche. Man, that tailor makes big bucks purely on how much material goes into this. I need 15,000 square yards of your finest silk. And that's for the tie. The massive dino came, okay, a cloche. Well, where there was an air of bravado had made their bickering... Oh, wait. Where was once an air of bravado had made their bickering and complaints come easy, now it seemed like his guests were all too afraid to so much as shift in their seats, except for the woman. While the other three's eyes were transfixed on the looming form of their boss, her eyes were locked on the covered platter. And her stare was filled with as much dread as the rest, if not more. After the shock of his appearance wore off, a low rumbling tone emerged from the throat of the scaly colossus, like a mix between a hiss and a growl of distant thunder.
Gentlemen, I bid you welcome. I trust the advised on our part as hostess to make you all comfortable.
The trio of terrified lieutenants quickly nodded in agreement, all of them thoroughly terrified. Yet, you just said that, man. All of them thoroughly spooked of the beast that had hovered over them.
I am glad to hear that. Then, before we feast, let me begin with some words of congratulation.
Sure, he wants to eat me, but high-value men always come with the downside. Hell, it's not even a downside if I'm into it. Dude!
Deirdre and her management of Little Trudon has finally borne fruit and provided us with a great reserve of wealth. She is to be commended for being able to take that slum and transform it into a charming little marketplace it is today.
If the Allosaurus woman was pleased with her father's compliment, she didn't show it. Neither did the others, for that matter.
But as pleased as I am with her performance, you three have outdone yourself in cleansing Skin Row of the human gangs that have opposed us. Now the humans that remains are ours to prey upon as we wish, to inevitably exterminate.
Dude, you go into City Hall if you want to get rid of people. You can't commit a genocide if you're not in charge of the concentration camps. The tone of the dinner was already grim, but that last word caused the temperature to drop. Everyone, including the guards, appeared uneasy as it reverberated throughout the room. Deirdre especially, as she fails to suppress the wincing movement. She hears it. Alfonso takes note of this.
It disappoints me to see that my trusted lieutenant shows such hesitation. I have even heard that some of you have expressed displeasure in performing your duties, that you feel that my orders are too aggressive. I must confess that this has caused me to question your resolve, even some of your loyalties.
That last line caused the three men to animate fully in their seats. They all look like they want to say otherwise, but the fear prevents them from speaking. Deirdre does not react as the others do. She looks like someone who knows that something terrible is about to happen and can do nothing to stop it.
However, I think I know of a way you can all prove yourselves to me, and it is to partake in a custom from the old country. All you must do is share a meal with me, while I remind you, all of you, that we are in the business of predators and prey. It is eat.
The Allosaurus places a great claw to the handle of the cloche, covering the platter.
Or be eaten.
Get out of here, Flowey, you fucking nerd!
Do forgive me if it is not cooked quite right. I often prefer this dish raw.
I asked for medium rare! And with a gratuitously slow motion reveal what lay beneath. It is! They are eating people! The horrific form of what was once a human lay bound and cooked for all to see. The roasted body of whoever this unfortunate person was, had been bent in such a way as to make it more compact, like some ghoulish parody of a turkey. Some reactions were more subdued than others. I like how even the shark is like, oh. The woman, Deirdre, had known this was coming based on what I overheard earlier. Knowing about this grotesque revelation did a little good judging from the revulsion of her face. So those two guys probably cooked the meal, and they were like, ew, dude, fine. She seemed unable to even look at it. Meanwhile, Fancy Pants and Leery Guy reeled back in shock. They seemed more surprised than sickened, however. The shark, the most chilling of the lot. What are they again? And Carnotaurus didn't so much as twitch his tail. I made an effort to keep my reaction quiet, if anything else, but it was difficult during what came next. Alfonsi Dude, we need the music a bit louder than this. Like, it's really quiet. Alphonse began to snap off limbs from his victim and place them, one by one, onto the plates of his guests. As he did so, he continued his speech as he began to circle the table.
I offer you all a choice. You may choose to be a predator and help me run this city, where we will all feast upon its wealth and its people as we desire. Or you may choose to be prey and attempt to run for the exit before I rip you apart. Now, eat.
The shark didn't hesitate to obey. He ate his portion, as if it were any other kind of food, while the Leo and the watched on. They exchanged a glance before the Fancy Pants man reached for his morsel and took a bite. The Leopard only needed one last fearful glance towards Alfonsi to follow suit, which left Deirdre as the last. She made no move towards touching the limb placed in front of her. Why is she being judged again? Like, what did she do? I don't say what his big problem is with his daughter. She's implied to be his daughter, right? She's his kid, right? She merely looked upon the chart appendage with resigned horror. Fonzie slowly lumbered around behind her and leaned in. Damn!
Why, Deirdre? It seems you are not eating. I am aware that you do not share my particular palate when it comes to food. But I must remind you that this is not about whatever or not you like the taste.
Alfonso slowly raised one of his massive claws and wrapped his fingers threateningly around her neck. How am I supposed to swallow like this?
Your behavior as of late has left me doubting your place as my heir. I need to know I can rely on you. So, eat.
For a long moment, the Allosaurus woman didn't move. But as her father's mouth slowly opened to reveal his teeth, her hands reach out for a portion of human. Hesitantly, she brings it to her mouth and she gives in and partakes like the rest. She takes a few meager bites, but even from where I am, I can see her gulp down the cooked flesh. Satisfied hiss escaped from her father's mouth, despite her obviously only nibbling the appendage. Alfonso removes his massive paw from her neck and returns to the head of the table. Dude, you're gonna get prion disease, you fucking clueless fools. Once there, he makes a bellowing declaration.
I congratulate all of you for your wise decisions. This concludes our meeting. Return to your homes aways words for me or Deirdre are your next steps.
Alfonso reaches out with a claw and snatches up whatever remains of the human meal and made it for the front. Damn it, he got the organ meat! He got the good shit!
Deirdre, you will remain here to clean up. The rest of you may enjoy the remainder of your evenings.
And with that, he departs while he devours the remains with one massive bite. Also, another reason why being huge is really kind of bad when you're a criminal. How the fuck does he lay low? It takes nothing to find this man. The other mobsters rise from their seats and depart after him without much fanfare. They take the guards and the dining area with them as they go, which leaves Deirdre alone at the table with scraps of human in various states of consumption. Yeah, you're fucked, Win. I know that I keep giving him shit for being a big criminal warlord, but it makes it fantastically easy to crush a human. Well, shit! Figured they're cannibals as well as monsters. At least the horror show's over.
I need to stay out of sight and slip out of here.
Which might be now, considering there's only 3 of them left on my count. Just Deirdre and the 2 in the conference room, presumably. Just have to work my back down the stairs. And before I'm going to shimmy my way towards the door that would bring back to the next hour, footsteps behind me. Click of heels coming up the main stairs that connected the balcony to the dining floor. I barely enough time to dive around the corner and avoid getting spotted. Risking a glance, I spot the Allosaur woman, Deirdre. I rush into the bathroom. Seconds later, I heard retching sounds. Seems she's chosen to vomit out her previous meal. She knows about prions! Seeing an opportunity to slip out and begin to move, only to see the causeway door open and someone makes their way through. I again scurry towards cover. I have to fling myself past the table onto the far side of the booth separator to do it, though. Puts me a decent distance away from either exit. Okay, the interloper walk away on the balcony. At size, he gets comfortable against the railing.
That was too close. Seems he's waiting for the lady. Great. Guess I'll have to get comfortable here for a bit. Not a pleasant wait.
The anxiety brought about by being mere feet away from someone who I just stole from is not exactly fun. And the sound of the Allosaurus woman vomiting doesn't make it go. What's to make the wait go any faster, eh? Huh? Eventually, the retching sounds stop, heralded by the flushing of a toilet. She emerges.
How you holding up, ma'am?
I'm sick. If all the father's men left.
Yeah, we're in the clear, just you and me and Joey.
Air let out a heavy breath. I don't know how much more of this I can take.
And the others said anything about the, dinner? Afterwards, I mean?
No, they didn't say a damn thing. They just got up and left like they were late to some appointment. Didn't even spare a moment to ask how an insane monster just had us eat a person. He's always been a monster, but now it's like he's regressing into an animal. I wonder what is bothering him. Does he have, like, cancer? Is he worried about the end of his life? Does he want to leave a legacy? Is he becoming impatient? Is he one of those people who just got a taste and can't get enough? He needs to die, Tony.
You're preaching to the choir, ma'am, but you've been trying to drum up support from others for a while. If they didn't change their minds, then what the hell can we do?
I don't know. They all talk about how much they want to be in charge, but they're all too terrified of my father to do anything but grovel. The most they do is blame me for their problems. Even if he was out of the picture, they'd fight over who would get his throne. Not that any of them could run this organization anyway. None of them have turned a profit from their territories. The best they can do is break even. I need to be the one to lead us.
Hey, you got my vote.
I appreciate it.
Issue remains, though, your dad is a terrifying monster. It'd be hard to convince anyone that it's even possible to kill someone like him. Like, I'm pretty sure we shot him dead, blew up his brains, threw him in a vat of acid, but we missed the head, and the hair grew into a whole new him. I'm pretty sure there's 2 of him around, but I don't know where the other one went.
A half laugh, a half hiss whistles through her teeth. Father is well on his way to finding out. We all will if he goes forward with this plan. Do you know what it is?
No, man, I'm just a driver. Goddamn, lady. I don't get paid enough to hide the cannibal. I make a point to try not to listen when the higher-ups are talking.
He wants to drive the humans out of Volcaldera bluffs entirely.
I keep telling him, if you want to do that, you gotta start a political party. You need the cops on your side. Because the cops, you know, they can call in the army.
That's not how the cops work, Tony. The cops don't call the army, that's the governor.
I thought he could only call in the, the state guys.
You mean the National Guard?
Yeah, those losers.
God damn it, Tony! Purge them. Launch an all-out race war, and as far as he's concerned, the bloodier the better.
After Jesus on his cross of stone.
No amount of bribes, DAs, or terrified mayors will be able to ignore that. He'll get the feds, even the National Guard called unless we want them dead or in jail.
And that's assuming they don't just nuke us from orbit. You do know they nuked Raccoon City, right? And that was because a zombie was there. I think her dad is like a G-monster level of problems.
Actually, I should probably show the art to Como. He likes that kind of stuff. Hold on. He loves those things. Alfonso does not appear to have, like, actual pictures in the thing. I'm trying to avoid everything and focus on what I'm looking for. Oh, there's a bunch of autism bingos? What? We'll look at those later. BG. I think Scenes has it? Yeah, Alfonso. Okay, they're at the beginning, so I can just show them to Como. There. Como likes that stuff. Man, there's a lot of scenes. Jesus, this is going to be a long one. Is my chat frozen or something? Am I frozen? That'd be bad. So I need to bring the lieutenants in line in order to stage a coup. All without alerting my father, who will kill us all if he finds out we're plotting against him.
Oh, that's a pretty tall order.
That it is. But first things first. Let's get this mess cleaned up and that poor bastard remain disposed of. We are unfortunately open tomorrow. I hear footsteps leaving and ascending the nearby stairs. Minutes wait as I wait and listen. Nothing. Seems I'm in the clear. Good grief! Seems to have stepped into quite a powder keg. As if the man-eating mobsters... That should be a hyphen. If the man-eating mobsters weren't enough of a sign of that. Unfortunately, it does seem... Unfortunately, it does seem that now is the right time for me to get the hell out of here. Just gotta sneak my way out the back alley. I'm home free. Leave the city and the all of Sandy far behind me. Just gotta work my way back across the causeway, scuttle through the kitchen, and slip back in the way I came. Who the hell are you?
Were you that fucking stupid? Did you not count footsteps, you idiot?
Ah.
My God! You fool!
Oh my God, you're such a fucking clown! I'm a master thief. I'm Win. I'm so smart. I'm done with this dude. I'm done with this dude. Okay? I'm fucking done with this dude. Do you understand how done I am with this dude? This dude and I done. No further conversations. No further questions. I'm gonna go look at pictures of pretty ladies to try and distract myself from the horrible situation this man found himself in. What a dingus. What a Dorcas. What a half-baked cheese banana. Masterfully blew it all. Seems only one of them walked away. And here I thought I was the only one who sits around in absolute silence for minutes at a time. What are you doing here? Like a surprised cat, I sprang backwards into the railing.
Oh, you fucking idiot! And thanks to the extra weight of the duffel bag.
What an acrobat. I tip over the edge, time slows down. I'm able to spin around as I tumble over the apparently too short barrier. Man, that's just an OSHA violation. Although I am still facing the ground to see that the table is directly below me. That's good. There's no way I can know the table will actually do anything to break my fall over. That's bad. Maybe I'll use the duffel bag full of money to cushion me to soften the blow. That's good. I'm about to impact the table. That's bad. If it hurts, that means I'm still alive. That's good. Table held up rather well to a man and a big duffel bag full of money falling on it. Still collapsed into a heap, but a few extra feet of it absorbed might have saved my life. Although still suffering from the impact, the fear of being caught gets my heart pumping. Seems like in mere moments, adrenaline flows through me. With the pain being dulled for the time being, I passively crawled to my feet and spent half a second scanning the room. This is the toilet for the men and the women, and this is the toilet for the one guy who needs it. There is one man in the entire fucking country that can use this toilet. It's that big. Congratulations. Major fracture detected. The woman looks down at me from above, quite stunned. One of her guards, Tony perhaps, was heading to the kitchen with a handful of dishes. By the end of the latter half of this second, I'm already limping my way towards the front. I can't really comprehend how fast I'm really going, but it doesn't feel slow. All the matters that are moving, and I will have to do. I do expect shouting behind me, but I don't waste any time trying to understand it. I want to push my way out the front doors. Does he bump into fucking Alfonsi? Escaping into the rain-soaked streets of Little Trudon. There's no time to hotwire and steal a car, so I have to rely on public... I determine that it is my lucky day as I spot a taxi idling across the street. I spur myself towards it as I feel the adrenaline starting to ebb away in the cold rain. Once again, I count my blessings as I reach the yellow cab. I fling the door open and dive in, slamming it shut behind me. The driver jolts in surprise. He was apparently in the middle of a call. Oh, shit. Drive!
Yeah, I need a surprise customer. Gotta go love ya.
Starting to get groggy. Drive it, please.
Sheesh, buddy. You look like you had a hell of a party. I like to think of myself as a pretty tolerant guy, but I don't like the look of you.
Time was of the essence. I wasn't particularly good at haggling. So, I made a very generous opening offer. Reaching the duffel bag, I extracted one of the wads of cash, tossed at the driver. Now, is this man smart enough to realize you should never take money from someone who has a duffel bag full of it? Oh, there he is in the background. He's got a little blood thing.
But I do like the look of your money.
Ah! I like how the shading up here changes. That's just weird. That's just like you didn't up it. That seemed to have worked.
You got a destination in mind? A hospital trip, maybe?
No hospital! Drive! Far! Fast! Safe!
Oh, suit yourself, pal, but I charge you extra to people who die in a cab.
Even with the increasingly fading states, it's hard not to notice the cab explode into motion.
Seriously, buddy, I don't know what your deal is. And honestly, I don't want to know. Once you're out of this cab, I ain't letting you back in. I don't need whatever mess you are blowing my way. I never saw you, and you never saw me. Sound fair?
Sounds fair. I can't believe I fucking died.